Hey, this is Lindsay Perkins, continuing your 2006 Winnipeg Folk Festival coverage. I am at Shady Grove right now for a workshop all about Canadians. It's called Back Bacon Screech and Maple Syrup. Let's take a look.
Firewood smoke and oranges, path of old canoe, would course the inland ocean to get back to you. No matter where I go to, it's always home again. The rugged northern shore and the days of sun and wind in the land of the silver birch, bright blue. There's something about this country that's a part of me and you.
My love, let us sail away in the cool moonlight down by the cool reef. See the river red from the long black hair, let it on through, hang softly over me. Untie my session lace my dress with my blooming lips and my soft white flesh. For I love you deep, and I love you long, and I love you sweet, down by the pool.
Man, the summer's turned its back on me. Such a sorrow laid in the cemetery. With that highway kind of robbery, like my life was an apology. I don't think about you all the time, only when the tree sway somehow slaughtered by the amber debris.
The northwest winters are cold and rainy. This old house up Beacon Hill, on those days we want to roll out of here. When the weather clears, we probably will. We don't take nothing for granted. Don't take nothing from no one else. We don't know this road we ride on. Hell, we don't barely know ourselves. No, we don't barely know ourselves. She is crying, what's hers is mine. They ain't got nothing but plenty of time. Hey, you.
Ships deep and right, the schooner's old and frail. My daylight hopes should run for it and make our harbor soon. And keep away and nothing down with lots of good sea room. But here's that one night blows no good, and this one I got judged. And stifle off there with a spire snarl, and many folks will grudge. When a common enemy with margation way, the opening scenes, the choking bumps, the trifles with his hay.
We'll sing this song. It's a Canadian song. I wrote it right in my own house in Canada.
You can tell by the wind, by fresh cut wood, all start to dry, that autumn's here.
makes you sad about the crummy summer we had, with pine trees creaking and the ravens screeching, just like the stories my grandma tells about when a bird comes and hits your window and someone you know is about to die. Autumn's here, autumn's here. It's okay if you want to cry, 'cause autumn's here. Yeah, autumn's here. Autumn's here. So find a sweater and you'll be better until the kindling is tinder dry. You can be quiet now as we walk down to see the graveyard, but they're all buried now. And I've been wondering how they brought their piano to Haldane Hill from old Berlin. It'll be hard to keep it well in tune with winters like the one that's coming soon. Oh, 'cause autumn's here. Yeah, autumn's here. It's time to cry now that autumn's here, 'cause autumn's here. It's time to cry, 'cause autumn's here. Listen to Lonely Planet bit, will ya? And I think that looks like the cooler weather when leaves turn colors. They get together and walk along these old back roads where no one even lives now and no one even goes. And I guess that autumn, it's you remembering the smallest things, like
the other volunteers you might bump into here at Folk Festival, who's been here for 30 or so years, is Candace Masters, and she's master of the stage. We're on the main stage. Isn't that right? For 5 years, what have you been doing here?
I'm the main stage artist liaison. So basically I do the troubleshooting if there's any problems or people need anything special, special meals, and just anything that the artists that are performing on main stage, they need something, I help them get it or do it or find the answers for them. And I take the main stage crew their meals, and just we make sure everything runs properly, or as properly as it can.
Quite a challenge, I bet, sometimes.
Oh, sometimes it is, absolutely. You know, when you're here until 2:30 in the morning, just waiting for Solomonburg to finish up, it's a long day when you're out here all day enjoying the music and then having to go to work at night, but I love it. It's a very fun job. I figure I've got the best job on the site.
Oh, really?
Absolutely.
Why do you figure?
Oh, just because I just get to make people happy by solving their problems, or, you know, just, I don't know, people go away feeling good if they've got a problem and it can be solved really relatively easily and painlessly for them. You just come back, you know, 20 minutes later and say, okay, it's taken care of. They're happy. That makes the festival look good. And in the end, that's what we're really all about, is making people leave here having a really good feeling about the Winnipeg Folk Festival.
Oh, good. So overall, how long have you worked at the Folk Festival?
I believe it's 31 years. Mm-hmm. It could be 30. I honestly don't remember.
Well, we won't press that point.
Okay.
But over that time, anything sticks out in your mind?
Well, when I was a young volunteer here, I was working in hotel hospitality at the old City Center Hotel. Yes, that's how old I am. And this gentleman was sitting beside me and he reading me the comics on Sunday or Saturday morning out of the Free Press. And people were walking by and looking very strangely, and, you know, just this awe in their eyes, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And he finally walked away, and I mean, I was a young rock and roll chick, as it were, so I didn't know an awful lot about folk music in those days. And when the gentleman left, people came over and went, oh my God, that must have been so amazing. Was he really nice? And I'm going, what? And it was Pete Seeger. It's like, so Pete Seeger read me the Sunday or Saturday morning comics, so that was pretty cool. And another one, and this is probably the one that still makes my hair on the back of my neck stand up, and it was the year Riders in the Sky were closing the show on a Sunday night, and they hit the first couple of notes of Red River Valley, and it's like as if on cue, the Northern Lights just came out and started dancing over the main stage, and I mean, it choked people up, and just, it was unbelievable. They just danced through the whole song, so it was pretty cool.
Excellent. Well, thanks for sharing that.
My pleasure.
So you got to come down and make some memories for yourself. Shaw TV, I'm Jeremy Valens.
24 hours of folk festival coverage, far out.
Shaw TV's Kim Babbage with our continuing coverage of Folk Fest 2006. People have been wandering around the grounds with these cookies, and I kept thinking, where are they getting them? And I found where they're getting them. Getting them at the Mondragon food stand. The food, of course, is a big part of Folk Fest. These are vegan chocolate chip cookies, though, and I'm joined by Eaton Harris, who works here at Mondragon. Vegan, that means no dairy, no milk. How the heck do you make a chocolate chip cookie without milk and whatever else, eggs, I guess?
A little bit of magic, pretty well. It's all organic. We use a organic butter kind of thing that's called Earth Balance, but it's made from all vegetable ingredients, and so there's no animal products in it, and everything else is all organic, straight up, and dark chocolate that we use for the chocolate chips.
See, now I'll tell you, this is really amazing, because I saw people walking. When I found out it was vegan, I thought, and my cameraman Jared agreed, and no offense meant, I thought, oh, that's going to taste like sawdust. But it doesn't. It's really amazing. I'm a big chocolate chip cookie aficionado, and this is great.
Yeah, they're pretty damn good cookies.
I would say so. Now, I guess being one of the food vendors here at Folk Fest, you guys have been crazy busy, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's been ridiculous for a couple days. And but it's super fun. This is one of the funnest parts of the year for us. This is what we look forward to.
Fantastic. Well, I want to eat my cookie, so Eaton Harris from the Mondragon food stand, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Hey, for Shaw TV's Focus Coverage, I'm Kim Babbage.
Shaw TV's been with you all weekend at the 2006 Winnipeg Folk Fest, and the final night is no exception. With you to the end, my friends, England's own Richard Thompson brings his brand of folk to Birds Hill, followed by Farron and Ricky Lee Jones. Mike Seeger takes the stage after that, backed by Canadian folk legend Bruce Coburn, and the grand finale. That concludes this year's lineup from the 2006 Winnipeg Folk Festival. Keep it locked to Shaw TV for more interviews and music from Birdshill Park.
It's not a folk festival without an interview with a band from Ireland. This is most of Fluke. One of you is missing. And first of all, I love the name, and I know there's a little bit of a story behind that. So let's start with where the name comes from.
Well, when we started off, there were 3 flute players in the band, and the friend of ours who suggested the project kind of came up with, between us, we came up with the name Fluke, F-L-U-K-E. It was just kind of coincidence that we got together, and it sounded like flute. But there's a techno band in Liverpool called Fluke, so after a year and a half or 2 years, we got a phone call from their manager saying, listen, we're fed up with Morris dancers turning up at our raves. Could you please change your name? So we did, and it seemed an obvious choice.
Bit of a different audience, but you're not just traditional Celtic. You guys add kind of a whole world flavor to your music.
I guess because 2 of the guys are Irish, Brian's Irish and John Joe, who's not here, is Irish, but myself and Ed are English, that we're not really your typical Irish band, and we take music from anything we listen to and we bring it into the melting pot and sound like Fluke.
Which I guess is the reason you're at a folk festival, because really that's what folk music is, right? Taking things from all different elements in different countries and blending it together, right?
Definitely, yeah. I was just talking to a fella in the waiting for the lunch backstage. There was loads of volunteers, and there's 2,200 volunteers. And I was talking to this fella, and he'd been coming for 31 years here, and he said, you know, originally it would be a bit like the Newport Festival, Bob Dylan when he wasn't electric, and Pete Seeger, and he says gradually as the years have gone by, it's changed. It's grown in its scope, I suppose. You've had music from everywhere, from Africa, from Russia, from England and stuff. So, yeah.
Well, I'm trying to think of the countries we've had on our show so far this weekend, and we've had Leroy Young from Belize, and we've had singers from Denmark, and people from all over the world. So, welcome. Is this your first time? This is your first time at the Winnipeg Folk Festival, right? So
I played here about 1990, I think it was.
By yourself?
Not by myself, thankfully, no. With a band called the Barely Works, but I mean it was a long time ago, and I'm sure no one would remember.
Well, you know what? Knowing the memories of people here, I'm sure they will, and they probably all have your CDs.
She hasn't changed, honestly.
So what's your best part about being at, like, I mean, this is a pretty big festival, so what's the funnest part of being at something like this?
Well, I guess, you know, it gives us a chance. It's such a strange life being on tour. For the most part, you're only ever around for one evening in any one place, you know, and then you don't get to hang out with other musicians. So it's kind of affirmation or confirmation that we're not totally crazy. Like, we get to unpack our suitcases and sit in the sun and watch other people, which is kind of mainly how we get inspired.
And I'm going to ask you that, who you people want to see while you're here? When you look at the list of people playing, are there any people that you are looking forward to seeing or playing with while you're here?
There's a fellow we know in Austria that's been talking about the Holmes Brothers for us to us, and I think they're on just before us tonight, so that's perfect timing.
Excellent.
Yeah, well, I was lucky enough to be thrown into this guitar thing, and it was with Bruce Coburn and Enough Said, and Mark Rebo as well, and I've been listening to Tom Waits records for a long time, so that was quite a thing to be on the stage with him. And you know, we've got friends here from Denmark, probably the people that were on your program, and I think who's playing last tonight? Crooked Still.
I'm hearing, that's one of the names I'm hearing everywhere when I talk to people, is Crooked Stills. We had them on our show earlier this week before the Folk Festival, so I've heard a lot of good things about them. So welcome to the Folk Fest. We're going to play a little bit of your music after this, so I guess just what do you have to say to the people of Winnipeg?
Well, I hope you enjoy it.
Excellent, perfect. This is Fluke, and here's some of their music.
This is the record.
the hundreds and thousands of volunteers that are here working. Leslie's been here for 30 years. What have you been doing for 30 years, Leslie?
30 years? Mostly I've been here in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Probably 25 of those years I've been working in the kitchen.
And this is in the backstage, so this is supplying who? This is for the volunteers?
For the volunteers and performers. We feed, well now it's up to around 3,000 volunteers and performers.
Wow.
2 meals a day. And a couple of years way back we moved out front, so we're feeding the performers, volunteers, and the entire audience.
Wow.
So that was a different challenge than what we were used to.
A little more than 3,000 people then, I
Yes,
guess.
definitely.
So
many more.
the audience, I mean, how many people are we talking about?
Probably 10,000 a day. So
I can understand why he's come back here.
yeah.
This, for people who don't know, this is backstage, and this is limited access. Definitely not public. It's very privileged to be back here. Over your 30 years being here, do you have a really fond memory?
Fond memory, I can remember watching Pete Seeger with a couple of close friends, also 30-year volunteers under a rain tarp out in the field. And so that was a special moment, seeing Stephen Grappelli playing live. My daughter, she's a festival baby and she's an apprentice this year. And I was one of the founding coordinators of the apprentice crew a couple of years back, which started out with about 30 teenagers, and now there's 110 of them, I believe. These are children of volunteers who are sort of training to take over as the next generation.
Oh wow, that sounds really neat. And she's still with it? She's really enjoying it, I presume?
Yeah, she is. She's really happy this year to be old enough to be an official volunteer, get her own t-shirt and badge and things like that.
Wow, you get qualifications and everything.
Yeah. Official. She's official now.
All right. So this is just one of the people you'll meet when you come down here. There's thousands of them. You can learn all about the Folk Festival.
Thank you.
Check it out. You're watching Shaw TV 24 hours a day Folk Fest. Woo!
You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind. Because if your friends don't dance, and if they don't dance, then no friends of mine. Say, we can dance if we want to. Buddy, what's up? What's going on, man? What's been your favorite part of the 2006 Winnipeg Folk Festival so far this year? Wake up.
Kanon?
Yeah! Why Kanon?
Oh, it's just a great dance beats. So, yeah.
Wicked. Yeah. All right, sleep tight, man.
The music's all pretty good, but Fluke on the main stage last night was exceptional, I thought.
Right on.
Yeah, everyone was dancing and it was good.
Right on. Dancing rules. How about yourself?
You know what, for me, it's always the last workshop I just heard, and we just came from Mr. Jam, and that rocked. Those women that was great.
I'm with the band. Just so you know. Hey, you, I'm with the band. I'm with the band. I'm with the band. With the band. With the band.
I like seeing the people, seeing the music. I can't narrow it down to one favorite part, man. It's just everything about it. Sunshine, dancing, food. Food is great.
What's your favorite part of the folk festival so far, you guys?
The guy doing the safety dance.
Yeah!
Alors, ma partie préférée du folk festival, c'était safety dance.
Safety dance! That's French. Hey, buddy, what's been your favorite part of the Winnipeg Folk Festival so far?
Probably this right now.
Stilts?
Yeah.
Wow, this is the first time. How old are you?
I'm 10.
First time a 10-year-old's been taller than me so far.
Well, I just was at the gospel stage. That was pretty beautiful, and I love that band Fruit. The way they harmonize and sing together. I think the whole festival has been marked by beautiful weather, except for the freezing weather last night. But there's just been a beautiful feeling this whole festival. I've enjoyed every bit of it.
Yeah. I'm with the band. I got a pass. Check it out. Jeff Bromley. Says right there, Jeff Bromley. Jeff Bromley Media. I'm with the band.
This band that just played Fruit, incredible entertainers, playing off each other, playing off the audience. Great.
Yeah?
Absolutely.
You having a really good time?
I'm having a really good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what's been your favorite part of the 2006 Winnipeg Folk Festival so far this year?
Hogsley Workman.
Hogsley Workman. How about yourself?
What's her name?
Amy Rigby?
Amy Rigby.
Really?
Yeah.
Mine's probably been...
The family tent.
The family tent.
Yeah.
What happens with the family tent? What is the family tent?
You can make crafts, and people sing there too.
Cool. Okay, what's been your favorite part of the folk festival so far this year, man?
The getting up close and personal with the artist during the day.
Yeah.
The night is awesome too, but during the day it's awesome just connecting to the music and experiencing that. This is my first time here. I've never been here before. So,
Okay. So that's your first time having a frozen banana as well, right?
First frozen banana in my life. Yeah.
How is it?
Awesome.
It rules.
Not as good as the music, but close.
I really liked Hoxley Workman Friday night.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Why'd you like him so much?
I'm a big Hoxley fan. I got all his records. He's got a great voice. I just thought he put on a really good show.
Hey guys, what's up, man? I'm with the band. Check it out. I'm with the band. I'm with the band.
Oh, I love the people watching. It's my fave. The music's great, of course. Yeah. People watching is for me.
Right on. How about yourself?
About the same. Yeah, we like it quite a lot. And we like the cool today. Very nice.
Yes. Nice
Very
change
good.
from the humidity.
Oh, yeah. Bonus. Yeah.
What's your favorite part?
Steve Earle.
Steve Earle.
Yep. Rode my Harley out, saw Steve Earle. Beautiful ride back.
Where are you from, brother?
Winnipeg.
Nice.
Oh, you know what? I'm getting my 30-year award on the main stage on Friday.
What is the award for?
For volunteering for 30 years.
Oh, nice. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That must be quite the honor.
It is. It's amazing. I think there was 13 of us altogether that have been here for over 30 years.
Wow.
How cool is
Awesome.
that?
Fantastic. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Enjoy the festival.
You too.
I'm Shaw TV's Bob Baker backstage once again, and we're talking about La Cuisine. Of course, this is where a lot of the volunteers get their food throughout the weekend, and there is a long-time volunteer who's helped out with this. In fact, he founded La Cuisine. This is Harry Payne. Harry, back in '74, I guess you started up this, and it's changed quite a bit.
Well, it has, yeah. In the first festivals, we only fed about 350 people.
Now that has changed quite a bit.
Now we feed 3,700.
Wow, that's a lot of work. Now, throughout those years, you must have some great memories about La Cuisine and the festival itself.
Yeah, it was always hard work, but the most memorable thing about it is the sort of coming together of the crew. The crew is a long time. I've worked with many of them. They have stayed with La Cuisine because they're a community.
Now, when you take a look at the festival itself, you were just telling me a lot of the memories. Of course, it's hard to narrow it down to just one, but you did pick out two, and if you could share those memories with us right now.
Well, the most memorable experience for me was, and I think sort of epitomized what was happening with the festival, was one night on a Sunday night, David Amram was performing on the stage, and there was a threat of tornadoes coming, and the RCMP asked everybody to clear the site, and nobody moved. They just all huddled together, shared raincoats, shared weather gear, and the show went on. And they just moved back from the towers a little bit, and that was it. And come rain, storm, whatever, they were going to stay there to hear David Amram finish his set.
And of course, now things have changed where it's not just the folkies that are out here, it's the folkies and their families, and third, fourth generation now.
That's right. And I just noticed that yesterday when I was walking around. I looked and I saw so many people who are grandparents and their children and their grandchildren who have grown up experiencing the folk festival, and it's changed their lives, and I think it's changed the social structure of Winnipeg in many ways. It's sort of like what makes Manitoba the friendly province.
Terrific, Harry. Thanks a lot for sharing your memories. Lots of great memories here at the Folk Festival. For Shaw TV, I'm Bob Baker.
Folk Fest coverage, Shaw TV 2006. Did I get everything? Good.
When you're hosting a party for over 40,000 people, you need a lot of volunteer help to keep everything organized and flowing smoothly. So they've got 2,300 volunteers this year. That's a lot of work just to organize that many people. What's involved?
It's a lot of people. And we start early on in the year. We'll be starting probably in March, getting in contact with the various coordinators of all the crews, recruiting, getting people assigned to crews, discussing what production needs are going to be for the coming year, that sort of thing. That all happens prior to the festival starting in about March.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what sort of jobs do all the volunteers get involved with?
Well, there's all kinds of different jobs, from cooking backstage for the performers and volunteers to site security to transportation to lockup, traffic, all kinds of different jobs.
Wow.
Something for everybody.
And this year, this is your first stab at it. How have you found it so far, trying to coordinate everything?
Correct. It's been challenging. 2,300 volunteers is a lot to coordinate. But thankfully, we have a great crew of coordinators, and that's really taken the load off of me. And they've really stepped up and sort of taken over ownership of each of the crews that they deal with, and that's been very helpful.
Now, as we're going to find out, we're going to talk to some of the volunteers who have been here for over 30 years. What's it like working with people like that?
Those people are so passionate about the festival. It's actually amazing. You know, their energy and their passion for the festival just, you know, spreads to everybody else. You see sort of rookies on the crew, and you see them interacting with the 30-year volunteers, and it's incredible to watch. You know, that passion and that drive just gets passed on. It's great to see.
It generates quite an atmosphere, I guess, backstage here with everybody.
Absolutely.
As far as you go, I mean, you've been volunteering for 12 years?
I volunteered for 12 years before I became a paid staff member of the Winnipeg Folk Festival. Yeah, I was actually 12 years in the backstage kitchen.
And what were the things that you enjoyed most?
It was really about the people for me. I'm not, it's funny that I ended up in the kitchen because I actually have no culinary skills at all.
Oh, it was you, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder what those really takes.
Yeah, so I really, when I say there's something for everybody, it doesn't mean that you need to be a chef to be working in the kitchen. A lot of chopping, all that sort of thing. But really it's about the people. You know, great conversations happen when you're chopping 20 pounds of onions or 50 pounds of potatoes or whatever. So it's really about the people and the friendships that are formed back there and that sort of thing.
So at home, did the meals improve for you, or do you just find you cook too much now?
Yeah, I cook way too much.
So make sure you stay with us throughout the program, because I'm going to go and talk to a few of these 30-plus volunteers. For Shaw TV, I'm Jeremy Vallon.
24-hour folk festival coverage on Shaw TV. Man.
Kim Babbage here with your continuing coverage of Winnipeg Folk Festival 2006. I'm standing right now in front of the media tent, and this is where all of the media, like us here at Shaw TV, get everything organized and arranged. This is where Shaw TV's own Joanne Kelly has been coming to arrange the artist interviews that we've been bringing you all weekend long. Now, once Folk Fest ends on Sunday night, our coverage will not be ending. We're playing a best of Winnipeg Folk Fest 2006 all day on Monday, and then on Monday evening we're bringing you something very special. All day on Friday, the Young Performers stage ran sort of the back of the Folk Fest grounds. We're going to bring you a 2-hour compilation of some of the best young performers here at Folk Festival. Tracy Kogo will be hosting that for you. It'll run between 5 and 7 on Monday evening. Then we'll be bringing you the Winnipeg Gold Eyes, and then once again between 10 and 12 you will see the Young Performers stage here on Shaw TV. So lots more Folk Fest coverage to look forward to, and of course, once again, just reminding you, tell all your friends, especially people who've been out here and won't have seen this, Monday, all day on Monday, the best of Folk Fest 2006. And for Shaw TV's coverage, I'm Kim Babbage.
Je dois vous demander, comment est-ce que je dis rockin' house party en français? Il y a une expression comme
un blip de bon party.
That is exactly what this was. This was awesome. You guys obviously have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we really did. We were wondering this morning, well, that's quite early. Should we go rock and roll? Should we do mellower pieces? And we decided to go bâtins.
And that's the name of the group. So I don't even know if you can sum up, but you say let's go bâtins. What does that mean?
Well, it's funny, it's a multi-sensed word in a sense. It comes from baptism, and as of a lot of Catholic words in Quebec in the last 30, 40 years have become swear words. But it also means like a little devil, a little crazy.
Yes.
Which kind of sums us up a bit.
Somebody who likes to play tricks. So we play tricks to folklore and people, obviously.
Well, you must get such a kick out of seeing, out of all the workshops I've been to, I think this is definitely the one people were dancing at the most, so that must give you some energy.
Oh yeah, well, it's for sure people feeds us back. So we're like big human sponges. If people showers us with their energy, we just respond back, and it makes a huge feedback.
And so this music is obviously Québécois, but it speaks to a lot of people, because I guarantee you that's not a lot of Québécois people in the audience. That's like a lot of English-speaking Winnipeg Americans, and they're really getting it, obviously.
Well, it's fun, you know. It's good to take these themes and to mix them up with a bit of world music, to mix them up with a bit of Celt, and it's, you know, music is what brings the world together in the first place. So yeah.
So you guys strike me as the kind of band that probably does play house parties. Like, I could just picture you guys picking up a fiddle and a whatever in someone's kitchen and going for it.
Yeah, well, this is obviously the base, the core of Les Baptêmes. This is how everything started. So we were always in houses, and oh, look at that, I just picked up that new song, and we were jamming on these songs, and of course a lot of beer, all kinds of good stuff, and then well, we're now much more disciplined.
Slightly more? Yeah.
Slightly more, even if it doesn't really show.
Do the members come and go? Like, do you have a core group of people that play?
Well, I'm one of the new ones, and Alain is one of our new guys. The initial string section of the band hasn't really changed much in the last soon-to-be 12 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
12 years, eh?
Yeah.
So do you play much out? I know you probably play a lot of festivals like this, and you do a lot of English festivals.
Yeah, we surely do that, and over the past years we've been very often in, we've been 5 times in Spain, touring all around Spain. We did a little bit of Belgium, Austria, Germany, Scotland's 2-time, Italy, and Germany. And strangely, we didn't win that much in France. Yeah, Mexico too. Yeah.
Well, speaking of France, but this will be airing through the weekend, so the game will have already been played. But I'm assuming that you're going for Italy.
Vive la France! Allez les Bleus!
Bien sûr. So we're going to end with a bit of your music, and people at home are probably going to want to kick up their heels and dance. But any message for the francophones, the anglophones, anybody in Winnipeg that are new to your music?
Any message? Well, what can I say, Andy? I'm a little, wow, that's a tricky one. What can I say? Well, thank you for letting us be, you know, thank you for allowing us to sing in French, and to be so friendly, being so amazing, and we'll share more good moments together.
And I'd like to say that you guys rock. The festival here rocks. And people from all over have been taking experience from this festival and taking it and turning it into other great festivals, thanks to the people here. And thanks to the volunteers, you guys rock too. You guys are great.
Excellent. So we're going to leave our viewers now with some real heel kicking, stomping, good music. Thank you, guys.
Well,
thank you very
thank
much.
you, Trevor.
Merci. Je me dis merci.
De rien, ça nous a fait plaisir.
I'm Shaw TV's Bob Baker out on the main gate, the main entrance to the Folk Festival, and we're talking to another one of the long-serving volunteers here for the Folk Festival, and that's Mike Brown. Mike, you've been here for 30 years as a volunteer, 31 years for a festival goer. Why do you keep coming back?
It's just so much fun. I actually really do enjoy working the parking lot, and I love the music and the atmosphere backstage. It's the gathering of the family every year.
Each year it gets bigger and bigger. It must have changed a lot in your mind.
Oh yes, oh yeah. I remember when it was 800 volunteers, and now we've got over 2,200, and yeah, it's gotten way bigger.
For all those years, I'm sure there's been a lot of memorable moments, but if you could tell us one story that you can tell us on camera, and paint a picture for us.
Well, I think the most amazing set I've ever heard was 1987. It was a band from Delaware called the Gospel Ambassadors, and they were playing with Ladysmith Black Mambazo, South Africa, and just the music and the spirit was just so amazing. Other performers were shutting down to just come and hear it, and it was just the most phenomenal musical experience I've ever had.
Well, Mike, thanks a lot for your time, and thanks a lot for being here for 30 years.
Oh, it's fun. Thank you.
Terrific. Okay. For Shaw TV, I'm Bob Baker.
Shaw TV has been with you all weekend at the 2006 Winnipeg Folk Fest, and the final night is no exception. With you to the end, my friends, England's own Richard Thompson brings his brand of folk to Birds Hill, followed by Farron and Ricky Lee Jones. Mike Seeger takes the stage after that, backed by Canadian folk legend Bruce Coburn, and the grand finale. That concludes this year's lineup from the 2006 Winnipeg Folk Festival. Keep it locked to Shaw TV for more interviews and music from Birds Hill Park.
One of the funny sights you'll see when you come to the Folk Festival is this sea of tarps. You can see them all behind me here. We're all just in front of the main stage. Every tarp is a spot for people to sit during the concert tonight, and every tarp is marked by a unique identifying flag, and some of them are quite unusual. There's a couple of guys up here I want to talk to see how they got their prime real estate. They're the only guys out here right now, and it's still a few hours till concert time. So let's go talk to them. What did it take to get here?
It took a lot of effort. As Nick said this morning, it took a lot of effort. We got up at 4:30. We got here for about 5:45 this morning. We saw a black bear at the front gate, wild turkey just up the way, and we lined up for a couple hours. 8 o'clock, they gave us our tarp shuffle tickets, which allowed us to get here at 10 this morning. They put us in a holding pen according to our numbers, and then at 10:30 they released us by the numbers, and we got this great spot. Right, Nick?
What are you enjoying so far?
I'm looking at the workshops quite a bit, enjoying those. Little concerts playing.
Okay, good. Now I'm noticing you guys don't have a marker. You're not the marker yourselves, just camping out on the tarp here, are you?
We use our neighbor's marker.
Oh. Not everybody goes without a marker, so we've come across the Grim Reaper. This is kind of a foreboding marker. Why'd you pick the Grim Reaper?
You know what, we've been coming here forever, and it's been our marker forever, and it's never changed. It is getting old, but, you know, we see everyone else here, and they seem to have flags or something like that, so we figure, you know what, might as well be different. The Folk Fest is a different experience, so might as well live up to that.
It is different. So do you find people sort of give you a wide berth around your tarp? They don't come anywhere near?
Oh, no, not at all. You know, people are really friendly when it comes to tarps. Like, people just seem to just fit right in.
They're walking all over your tarp instead, aren't they?
Exactly. No one has a problem going on your tarp.
So you need a different marker, maybe something scarier.
You know what? I think we're going to stick with this one until it bites the dust. You know, it's getting old, but it's good for now.
All right, for tonight's concert, who are you looking forward to?
I'm actually looking forward to Sarah Lee Jones.
Sarah
Ricky Lee Jones, sorry. My bad.
Sorry?
Ricky Lee Jones.
Ricky Lee Jones.
Yeah.
Sarah's his sister?
No.
Why do you like Ricky Lee so much?
I don't know. I just like her style of music. I've heard her a few times, but, you know, I just really like it. I'm a music person.
David Harley, he runs a grow-off in the basement of his chop shop, and he's always got hip-hop on a boom box, and the Red Sox on the Magnavox. He never liked my mohawk, because he wasn't much for small talk, but he talked a lot when he taught me how to steal hot rods, grow Boston's finest pop. He was a good man, my pop, but he was a bad cop. a dame named Josephine. She says, I need a lamprey, El Camino, and an indigo, El Dorado, delivered to El Paso, Mexico, before Cinco de Mayo. Y para ti, $1 millón de pesos por cada uno. Oiga, su mano bebidas gratis on la playa. Well, I said $1 million pesos each, and a week of free drinks on the beach. Sweet. Midnight, same night, I spied a Cadillac at the Starlight Motor Inn. Some quick work on my Slim Jim and presto, instant adrenaline high. Meanwhile, across town, the Double Down Casino, my pa parks a squad car at Hot Wives the El Camino. We're professionals, don't you know? We don't waste any time on being slow. So, overnight, the ladies look smitten. Hydraulic lift kits and glow skulls for stick shifts. My pop said you look like dog shit, kid. Go clean up, I'll finish this. So I polish the chrome on my boot tips. Shave my head, see if my Stetson still fits. He was a good man, my pop, but he was a bad cop. Yeah, he was a good man, my pop, but he was a bad cop. We blow town at dawn. We pit stop at Honest Johnny's service station where we buy petrol, alcohol, and phony license and registration. Then we race south on our vacation, and with everything in perfect order, we cross the border drunk with 2 stolen cars, a firearm, and a homegrown quarter. We get bland as soon as we can, which in hindsight wasn't such a good plan. I mean, we were already half canned on a 66 asylum Sam. Damn. And suddenly, on all sides were these banditos on motorbikes waving knives and chains and pistoleros. It was insane. They were throwing huevos, rancheros. And my pop got yoked. I could tell he was fucking choked because he pulled out his service revolver. His 38 smelled no problem solver. And he fired some lead above their heads as if to say, yo, back the fuck up or you're dead. But they were too hard-headed to get it, screaming high on a joyride. And although my pa was above the law, he'd always steer clear of homicide. So instead he starts swerve driving, knocking them off the road like pylons, and I slam on my brakes. And the 2 chumps on my tail eat my license plate, yeah. We get down and dirty, 2 against 30, demolition smash up dirty. Of course, we were in cars and they were on motorcycles. Cuatro de Mayo, El Paso, Alfonso's paint and body 2 days after our little brush with the Mexican chapter of the KISS Army. Now Alfonso, he's kind of smarmy, but he's got the ultimate set of tools, and once again we get the ladies looking like a couple of sparkling jewels. And not a moment too soon, because guess who shows up at noon? That's right, Josephine, the Spanish dream, followed by a couple of sharp-dressed Mexican dudes in black suits and dark shades, carrying Uzis and hand grenades. And I think, damn, this thing means business, and there's no way I'm getting laid. Muchas gracias, amigo, she says, as she throws us the dough she owes us. Then she shows us how well she knows us, and she rolls us a perfect J. Yeah, it was perfect, because I hadn't had one yet that day. And I say, hey, Josephine, I think I love you. She says, well, bingo, I'm single. So tonight, I think I love you too. He was a good man, my mom, but he was a bad cow. Yeah, he was a good man, my mom, but he was a bad cow. He was a good man, my mom, but he was a bad.
Here at the Folk Festival, there's a lot of rumors going around. One of them being that the guys that are wearing the skirts...
I'm wearing a skirt.
They're not wearing anything underneath those skirts. Another one of those rumors is, of course, last year a lot of people thought Neil Young was going to be playing.
Oh, I didn't know he was playing.
Wow. He's not.
Oh, okay.
I'm just joking.
Good.
I don't know how that happened, but One of probably the biggest rumors, though, is that Joanne Kelly of Shaw TV is actually running her own kiosk here at the Folk Festival. We're going to go talk to Joanne right now. She looks a little different. Joanne Kelly, Shaw TV?
Yeah? I'm not Shaw TV.
No, you're not Joanne Kelly from Shaw TV, but you share the same name.
Well, it's a good name.
It is a good name.
It's a good name.
Did your parents name you after Shaw TV's Joanne Kelly?
Well, I guess it would depend on her age. I have a feeling she might have been named after me.
Okay, fair enough. So, Joanne, while we're here, why don't we talk about your shack, your kiosk? What do you sell here?
Well, I do two things. I work in clay, as you can see.
Okay.
This is porcelain. And I also work in fabric. So these are fiber pieces, paintings.
Okay.
And hand-painted scarves. And that's what I do.
You have some really beautiful stuff. How long have you been doing this for?
All my life.
Oh, wow.
Literally all my life. I apparently started in my crib drawing on the walls around the crib.
Nice.
So, but yeah, I went to art school and I have carried on and done quite a number of different things, but here I am and I'm enjoying life and, you know.
Enjoying the Folk Festival.
I certainly am, yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So, Joanne, one last final question. If Joanne Kelly was interested in some of your wares, could she maybe get a discount for sharing the same name as you?
Oh, we could talk about it. I'm open, always. Oh.
I'm her agent, so, you know, that's what I do, you know.
Okay. you get a commission, do you?
Exactly.
Yeah, okay. From me or her?
Hopefully from both.
Okay.
For Shaw TV, with Joanne Kelly, not Shaw TV, I'm Jeff Bromley.
Thank you.
Folk Fest coverage on Shaw. Yeah!
It looks a little like the Saddle Dome in Calgary, but actually this is the new design of the main stage at this weekend's Folk Festival. It comes complete with two redesigned sound towers on either side. Sorry, they're not climbing structures for the kids. They're about 60 feet tall. And if you notice, we're slightly looking down on those towers. And typically, if you look out over the field, this is normally what it is. So we're up here, courtesy of our friend Jim down below. He's got one of these nice little cranes to help get us up way up high. What are some of the advantages of having a main stage like this year?
Well, mainly that we're not subject to truck schedules and all the things that have caused us problems in the past. As long as the scaffold order comes, we can build this, and we don't have to rely on anybody else, which is good, because we know we can build this. The weather last year caused us such problems, and having to rely on a truck in the stage actually getting to the location you wanted when it was a swamp back here was, I think, probably the big reason why they went to a big change in the main stage. I think it's a positive change.
Over its 33-year history, the Folk Festival main stage has undergone a few changes, always improving as technology advances.
Other than visually, there's going to be a wonderful light show going on there, but it has a tendency to focus the audience's attention on the performance, as opposed to in the past sometimes you could see wanderings around in the back, but just the design, it's kind of like a fly trap in a way. It sucks people right in and goes, oh, that's cool, look at that stuff. When I was first here in the 80s, early 80s, we had an old canvas tent that would go up on top of the stage itself. Oh, and there were a couple of times it just about blew off. We were all up there holding this thing on there. It was interesting to say the least.
So this sort of far exceeds all those.
It's not going to go down.
No?
No, it's not going to go down even in a big wind. It's very safe.
But it's been a lot more work putting this together, I imagine.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Fun though, because we get everybody to work on it and get the whole site crew together, and that's an enjoyable. When you get all of us together working on the same project, that's a lot of fun.
Some of the benefits to this new stage design are obvious. It's huge. The stage itself is elevated quite a bit off the ground, and it's completely covered, so the performers don't have to worry about rain or bad weather of any kind. But it took 2 days to put this 80-foot stage together, and 8 guys, and they had to put each piece together one at a time. They're all color-coded to make it a little easier, but still, it's a lot of work.
People like building stages. We have so many of them to build, and it's, you know, bigger stages are just bigger stages. So everybody likes working together, so it's good. You send a couple of guys out here, they get to drive each other crazy, arguing about if it's level enough or too level, or it's just fun.
See you at the Folk Festival this weekend at Birds Hill Park. For Shaw TV, I'm Jeremy Balance.
24-hour Folk Festival coverage on Shaw TV.
man.
This is going to be the interview where I ask all the stupid questions, because you're a band I didn't know before.
Okay.
Bedouin Soundclash. I'd heard of you, of course. We've had you on Shaw TV. I'm absolutely blown away. You guys, I've never seen the audience rock that much. What was it like up there?
It was really interesting. I mean, we've been only doing, since summer started is when we first started doing these folk festivals, and we're used to being in places where people are standing up and in clubs, and it's always, you know, we always love the fact that as a band, we're able to play, you know, sort of change our set of it and play to a bit of an older crowd. We're sitting down in lawn chairs and still try to get them into what we're doing, because a lot of times that generation writes off young bands as not doing something that's important, and we feel that what we do is important isn't strictly a young person thing.
Well, I have to say, we were talking to the artistic director, and he didn't actually use this term, but he really meant that he was using you guys as bait, lure to draw in the younger crowds, and it's working.
I'm glad that we were bait. Yes. Shark jump. Yes. I think that, you know, as much as he might be using us, we feel mutually like we're using these kind of forums to show that what we do is not about singles or about being on Much Music or being on MTV. Music for us has always been about going back to records that came from the roots, that go back, like, we want our fan base, like the kids that listen to our music are usually pretty intelligent, and they go back further than our record. They'll go to Toots and the Maytals, they'll go back to Stanley Beckford, they'll go back to like jazz, gospel, and that's what our, like, and so as much as they're using us to get these kids in, I also feel like we're also showing that, you know, we can stand on any stage with any types of players, and we still are very strong about where we're coming from, and not be intimidated by the fact there are a lot of amazing people that, you know, are playing.
Well, intimidated, I mean, for me tonight, I thought the big things were going to be Alejandro and Steve Earle, which I'm still excited about, but listening to you guys play has blown me away as well. And what's it like for you guys playing with such huge names?
It's always obviously it's a huge honor. When we play with these people, we always know that we have to step up what we're gonna do that evening. Tonight, hopefully we did it. I always feel like we never given up, and we should always do something a bit more. But you know, yeah, playing with these kinds of people is always amazing. I mean, like 2 nights ago we were in Montreal doing a Paul Simon benefit with like Elvis Costello and, you know, Jim Cuddy, and it was, you know, that, and it's you're intimidated, but it's also one of those things where, like, now we feel like we feel like we represent something a bit younger, but we want to show that what we're doing is just as viable as something.
Well, you talked about the roots in your music, so a lot of older people are going to hear that, and a theme that seems to be coming out when I'm talking to artists, especially this folk festival, is intelligence. Like, they're really giving the audiences credit for listening intelligently, and I guess you're really picking that up here.
Yeah, at these kind of, I mean, we've done now, I guess, 3 or 4 folk festivals this summer, and this is our first real experience with it. But yeah, you know, I think there is like an obvious consciousness amongst the audience of stuff that's come before. I also think, though, that sometimes when you get to like you know, an older generation of listeners, they've stopped listening to young bands, and they think that they don't have anything to say, as if there was a point when music meant something to them, and now that's all that matters.
The olden days.
Yeah, as if they're, you know, and I find it really frustrating when you talk to someone who thinks that there was one Bob Dylan, there will be a Bob Dylan again. It's like Bob Dylan was a product of a generation, and folk was a product of a generation, and things changed, but people are expressing those same things in different ways. And I almost think it's almost more admirable that after '69 and after everyone realized that the Summer of Love was a bit of a sham, these kids are still making their mark in different ways. So.
I think that's a really excellent point, and this is kind of the tough question and maybe a little heavy. I don't even know if there's an answer for it, but if you had to wrap up what your message is, what would you say?
I think the best part about being an artist is you don't have to have a message. I always think the questioning is the most important part of art in general. It raises questions. Otherwise, you're just being a craftsman. You can go make great music and go make beautiful harmonies. But then you're just making. To me, you're an interior decorator. But if you're really when you're doing something that matters, you're questioning it. You're using those elements to get at a massive audience. But you're sort of maybe poking fun or maybe just in some way questioning what's in front of you. And I don't think that a young generation will ever get tired of doing that. And I think that's what's always made music exciting.
Well, I think you could almost see it clicking in the audiences they're watching. So the intelligence is there, but also bottom line, I mean, they were having fun, and you guys were having fun, and I think that's really, really important with you guys.
Right. The other thing is that the majority of people listen to music as a leisure time thing. I mean, there's a few of us who will be like really into what musicians were on what record and all that, but in the end, it doesn't matter. The stories are always the same. The melody's more or less always the same. It's music is meant as, in my opinion, to be celebrated. I always find it hard when I see people sitting down. I'm like, I don't listen to music sitting down. I don't celebrate. I always think it's an affirmation of life, and I don't do that sitting down. I think you should stand up and sort of and dance and move. And that's why that's why we're so used to being in the clubs and being able to just be like, get up, dance, move, and so it's a bit of a challenge today. But I think that's the bottom line: is you always have to have fun when you're doing it.
If that's one thing I take away from the Folk Festival, well, you're only the first night of interviews, but that was awesome, that the music here is a celebration and an affirmation of life. Thanks very much for joining us, and we're going to leave people now with a bit more of your celebration, Bedouin Sound Clash.
You're watching Shaw TV's coverage of the 2006 Folk Festival.
Well, David Harley, he runs a grow-off. In the basement of his chop shop, and he's always got hip-hop on the boom box, and the Red Sox on the Magnavox. He never liked my mohawk, and he wasn't much for small talk, but he talked a lot when he taught me how to steal hot rods, grow Boston's finest pop. He was a good man, my pop. He was a bad cop. Well, late one evening, I hear the cargo bay doorbell ring. Out of the back of a white stretch limousine steps this classy dame named Josephine. She says, I need a Lamborghini, El Camino, and an Indigo, El Dorado, delivered to El Paso, Mexico, before Cinco de Mayo. Y pero sí, $1 million pesos por cada uno. Oiga, su mano bebidas gratis a la playa. Well, I says $1 million pesos each, and a week of free drinks on the beach. Sweet. Midnight, same night, I spied a Cadillac at the Starlight Motor Inn. Some quick work on my Slim Jim, and presto, instant adrenaline high. Meanwhile, across town, the Double Down Casino, my pop parks a squad car at Hot Wheels the El Camino. We're professionals, don't you know? We don't waste any time on being slow. So, overnight, the ladies look smitten. Hydraulic lift kits and glow skulls for stick shifts. My pop said you look like dog shit, kid. Go clean up, I'll finish this. So I polish the chrome on my boot tips. Shave my head, see if my Stetson still fits. He was a good man, my pop. He was a bad cop. Yeah, he was a good man, my pop. But he was a bad cop. We blow town at dawn. We pit stop at Honest Johnny's service station. We buy petrol, alcohol, and phone me license and registration. Then we raced south on our vacation, and with everything in perfect order, we crossed the border drunk with 2 stolen cars, a firearm, and a homegrown quarter. We get bland as soon as we can, which in hindsight wasn't such a good plan. I mean, we were already half canned on a 66 of Silent Sam. Damn. And suddenly, on all sides were these banditos on motorbikes waving knives and chains and pistoleros. It was insane. They were throwing huevos, rancheros. And my pop got yoked. I could tell he was fucking choked, because he pulled out his service revolver, his 38 snub-nosed problem solver, and he fired some lead above their heads as if to say, yo, back the fuck up or you're dead. They were too hard-headed to get it, screaming high on a joyride, and although my pa was above the law, he'd always steer clear of homicide. So instead he starts swerve driving, knocking them off the road like pylons, and I slam on my brakes. And the 2 chumps on my tail eat my license plate, yeah. We get down and dirty, 2 against 30, demolition smash up dirty. Of course, we were in cars and they were on motorcycles. Cuatro de Mayo, El Paso, Alfonso's paint and body 2 days after our little brush with the Mexican chapter of the KISS Army. Now Alfonso, he's kind of smarmy, but he's got the ultimate set of tools, and once again we get the ladies looking like a couple of sparkling jewels. And not a moment too soon, because guess who shows up at noon? That's right, Josephine, the Spanish dream, followed by a couple of sharp-dressed Mexican dudes in black suits and dark shades, carrying Uzis and hand grenades. And I think, damn, this dame means business, and there's no way I'm getting laid. Muchas gracias, amigo, she says, as she throws us the dough she owes us. Then she shows us how well she knows us, and she rolls us the perfect J. Yeah, it was perfect, because I hadn't had one yet that day. And I say, hey, Josephine, I think I love you. She says, well, bingo, I'm single. So tonight, I think I love you too. He's a good man, my pop, but he was a bad cow. Yeah, he was a good man, my pop, but he was a bad cow. He was a good man, my pop, but he was a bad.
Hey brother, how you doing, man? Pretty good. How's it going? You enjoying the music?
Yeah.
Right on. Question I want to ask you today is, I'm trying to figure it out myself. I've been thinking about it, how to define the genre of folk music. Like, what makes music folk music?
It's made by people for people.
By people for people?
That's it. Anything goes, from electronica all the way down to punk.
So everything is folk?
No, as long as it's made by people for people.
Okay, but music...
Anything structured or corporate doesn't count. Doesn't matter if it's something that's high-end country or high-end punk. Okay. It's all pre-structured and pre-done. If it's in a field or done by people for people, in their basement, in their garage, it's folk music.
That's nice.
Whether that be electronica or this. They're a band.
Right.
And they're doing it for a reason.
Right.
Are they doing it for music, or are they doing it to be famous?
Okay.
If they're doing it to be famous, they're not doing it for music. It's not for people now, it's for them.
How can we tell?
You can't. It's in your heart.
You just feel it.
Yeah.
That's folk music.
You either love it or you don't. And if you love it because it makes you somebody, then go for it. If you love it because it makes you do something in your heart, it's a hard thing to pin down, and that's what makes it beautiful.
What is the definition of folk music? Does it have to do with being outdoors? Is it tied in with the nature? Is that what brings us back to our roots, so to speak?
What is it?
Basically, it's just a group of people from all over the world singing and performing. It's just great.
Yeah.
Just music. Just all it is, just music.
So it's people. It's what makes it folk music.
I've been a volunteer for 27 years.
Uh-huh.
And I haven't been a volunteer now since '92. Okay, so like I know this place pretty good. I just like the music.
Yeah.
And it's different. Just listen to a lady from New Zealand. Went and bought 2 of her CDs.
Yeah.
You don't know until you listen. And then you just walk out, buy a CD, and say, darn, I like to listen to those folks. Have a good day. See you.
Take her easy, brother.
Well, hi everyone. Once again, it's Shaw TV's 2006 Winnipeg Folk Festival coverage, and I'm Tracy Koga, not at Birds Hill Park. Hey, I don't have to go all the way to the park to see great acts like This Is Crooked Still. Unbelievable guys. Great performance, Corey.
Thank you.
It's just a little warm-up, right?
It's a little warm up, yeah, and it's warm out.
It's very warm-up. So tell us a little bit about the band.
Well, we're a string band from the States, and we play sort of bluegrass and old time and old blues, sort of anything from the South, basically.
And check out Rashad's hat. Winnipeg is not a very hat-oriented city, so a hat in the middle of summer, Rashad. Definite. Yeah.
Well, it's a pointed hat to get in touch with the vibes of the mystics so I can channel their powerful energy on stage.
How do you stand it with all these guys?
You know, I'm so used to it by now, and really they're just a bunch of girls in disguise, you know. They probably don't want you to know that, but it's true.
And you being the lead singer, there's always something that happens, right? You hurt your finger.
I did last week, or 2 weeks ago actually. I slammed my finger in the car door, and usually, you know, I brought up like my guitar today, and the festival director, Chris, he's like, I didn't know you played the guitar, so usually people don't associate me with an instrument, but every little injury counts.
Brave, brave soul, great sound, great banjo playing. How did you guys all get together?
We all met in Boston several years ago when we were all students there at various schools. These guys all went to music school. I was a biologist myself. I'm retired now, but back then I was trying to do science and music at the same time. And we all just sort of met through mutual friends in the Boston music scene, which is really lively. The acoustic music scene in Boston, Massachusetts, it's great. And yeah, we've been a band ever since.
Well, our folk festival has really expanded, and I think you guys are going to fit right in. We always like to hear and see something new and different. But for you, playing this type of music, how have you grown?
Well, I grew up in an Irish-American household with a lot of Irish music around, so this sort of scene isn't that different from what I grew up with. But then I went to music school and studied all different kinds of world music. But as Greg said, really being a part of the Boston music scene, which was really thriving, especially when we were all living there together. Tons of jamming, meeting tons of great musicians. It's been really great, really fun.
So when can we see you guys perform at the folk festival?
Well, we'll all be playing together on Saturday on the
Burr Oak stage.
Yeah.
Yo, way to go, Aoife.
Burr Oak at 4:30.
Trust a woman to know the schedule. The Baroque steak, yes.
Right. And then we'll all be also performing separately in workshops around, so.
Well, welcome, guys. We really, really appreciate you guys coming down, making the trip. It's well worth to go to the Winnipeg Folk Festival, Birds Hill Park, all this weekend. So, one more time, who are you guys?
We're Crooked Still.
Crooked Still, yes. And I bet you came up with the name.
Nope, I didn't. I wanted to call the band Beastweed.
We won't continue any further. It's worth it just to come and see Rashad. Anyways, this wraps up my portion of the 2006 Winnipeg Folk Festival coverage for Shaw TV. I'm Tracy Koga.
guys this weekend down at Bird Hill Park. Thanks for coming.
Je dois vous demander, comment est-ce que je dis rock and house party en français? Est-ce qu'il y a une expression comme ça?
Un blip de bon party.
That is exactly what this was. This was awesome. You guys obviously have a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, we really did. We were wondering this morning, well, that's quite early. Should we go rock and roll? Should we do mellower pieces? And we decided to go bâtins.
And that's the name of the group. So I don't even know if you can sum up, but you say let's go bâtins. What does that mean?
Well, it's funny, it's a multi-sensed word in a sense. It comes from baptism, and as of a lot of Catholic words in Quebec in the last 30, 40 years have become swear words. But it also means like a little devil, a little crazy, which kind of sums us up a bit.
Somebody who likes to play tricks. So we play tricks to folklore and people, obviously.
Well, you must get such a kick out of seeing, out of all the workshops I've been to, I think this is definitely the one people were dancing at the most, so that must give you some energy.
Oh yeah, well, it's for sure people feeds us back. So we're like big human sponges. If people showers us with their energy, we just respond back, and it makes a huge feedback.
And so this music is obviously Québécois, but it speaks to a lot of people, because I guarantee you that's not a lot of Québécois people in the audience. That's like a lot of English-speaking Winnipeg Americans, and they're really getting it, obviously.
Well, it's fun, you know. It's good to take these themes and to mix them up with a bit of world music, to mix them up with a bit of Celt, and it, you know, music is what brings the world together in the first place. So yeah.
So you guys strike me as the kind of band that probably does play house parties. Like I could just picture you guys picking up a fiddle in a whatever in someone's kitchen and going for it.
Yeah, well, this is obviously the base, the core of Les Bâtins. This is how everything started. So we were always in houses, and oh, look at that! I just picked up that new song, and we were jamming on these songs, and of course a lot of beer, all kinds of good stuff, and then well, we're now much more disciplined. Slightly more, even if it doesn't really show.
Do the members come and go? Like, do you have a core group of people that play?
Well, I'm one of the new ones, and Alain is one of our new guys. The initial string section of the band hasn't really changed much in the last soon-to-be 12 years.
Yeah.
12 years, eh? Yeah. So do you play much out? I know you probably play a lot of festivals like this, and you do a lot of English festivals.
Yeah, we surely do that, and over the past years we've been very often in, we've been 5 times in Spain, touring all around Spain. We did a little bit of Belgium, Austria, Germany, Scotland's 2-time, Italy, and Germany. And strangely, we didn't win that much in France. Yeah, Mexico too, yeah.
Well, speaking of France, but this will be airing through the weekend, so the game will have already been played, but I'm assuming that you're going for Italy?
Vive la France! Allez les Bleus!
Bien sûr. So we're going to end with a bit of your music, and people at home are probably going to want to kick up their heels and dance, but any message for the francophones, the anglophones, anybody in Winnipeg that are new to your music?
Any message? Well, what can I say, Andy? I'm a little, wow, that's a tricky one. What can I say? Well, we thank you for letting us be, you know, thank you for allowing us to sing in French, and to be so friendly, being so amazing, and we'll share more good moments together.
And I'd like to say that you guys rock. The festival here rocks, and people from all over have been taking experience from this festival and taking it and turning it into other great festivals thanks to the people here, and thanks to the volunteers. You guys rock too. You guys are great.
Excellent. So we're going to leave our viewers now with some real heel kicking, stomping good music. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much.
Merci. Je me dis merci.
De rien, ça nous a fait plaisir.
So Greg McPherson, Folk Festival last year, the Junos last year. We talked to you when you released your latest album. It's the Greg McPherson channel. Did you have fun up there tonight?
Yeah, it was amazing. It's really nice. It's just nice to play in front of my hometown friends, and couldn't ask for a more beautiful evening. So
I love watching you play because you're so incredibly intense when you play. It's like your veins, your face, you just look like you're so intensely into it.
yeah, it's the thing in my life that I value most, I guess, beyond my friends and family. It's having the chance to perform. It's just it's a magical gift. You know, I love it. So I always take it pretty serious when I'm singing my songs. I sing them like I mean it.
Well, you're a bit of a legend around Shaw TV. We interviewed you around Juno time, or the anti-Juno, and that was the big, what does he hold? The one finger salute to Anne Murray. Yeah, that's the folk festival is obviously way more your style than the Junos or the big shows like that. So what's the main thing you get out of a folk festival?
I don't know. It's nice. This particular folk festival is really gaining a reputation for having a wide variety of music being played, and people are exposed to different styles, different genres of music from here and from all over the world. I think that's the nicest thing about it. They treat people really, really well too. It's sort of like getting spoiled. You go from playing in punk rooms and rock clubs to playing the folk festival, and it's pretty 5-star.
Well, I understand you just got back from Europe, didn't you? And you had some pretty crazy time there. Good time?
I had an amazing time. Yeah, it was probably the best tour I've ever had. I had a record label in Denmark contact me out of the blue and asked me to put out a record with them. So they wanted to do it right away too. They were just insistent on releasing whatever I had. So I made sort of a compilation, like a greatest hits. And so I have a Danish greatest hits
like
record.
A K-Tel thing.
Yeah, well, yeah, almost. But it was amazing. I went over there, and they're probably the nicest people I've ever met in my life.
I'm Danish.
Are you?
Yeah.
Well, good on you. It's a great country. I played in Copenhagen. I played all over the country, and they put a band together for me. They booked me a tour all over Europe. I went over there. I stayed at in their homes. The record looked beautiful. They did everything I asked them to, and yeah, it was just great. Every show was great. I blew my voice out, and it didn't matter. Our van broke down. It didn't matter. The car I was in was a little tiny Twingo when I went on the solo part of the tour. It was a little tiny car, and the amp took up most of the car, but it didn't matter.
That's the way to do it, eh?
Yeah, it was great. It's pretty cool being a solo act sometimes because I get to play in different parts of the world with other bands, or just go on my own, and it's always an adventure.
Did I hear a rumor that you're re-releasing some of your stuff on vinyl?
This was on vinyl. This was a vinyl release, so that's sort of the special part of it too for me. Is I'm a big vinyl fan. I have a record player, and I'm one of those audio snobs that believes that vinyl sounds better than the CD. The dynamic range, you get more lows and higher highs. But yeah, this was a release of songs that had already been recorded and released before. Yeah, and I also have later in the summer my first CD, Balanced on a Pin, that was an independent release in '99. G7 Welcoming Committee Records is going to be putting it out via the internet, so that'll be another kind of an old release coming out again.
That's cool, vinyl and internet, like two totally opposite spectrums.
Yeah, for sure. I'm really into mediums.
Well, we're going to play one of your songs in just a minute, but I wanted to ask who you're excited about seeing this weekend. I mean, everybody I'm interviewing, I'm like Steve Earle, but who's your big person this weekend?
To be honest, Alejandro Escobedo is one of my favorites, and Vic Chestnut too is a phenomenal singer-songwriter. I think he's from Georgia. I played with him once in Regina, and he's played this festival on a number of occasions. He's really kind of an unsung hero. I also look forward to seeing Low, the band Low. They're beautiful songwriters, really slow, really gentle music, and incredibly powerful. So yeah.
Okay. Well, those are good tips for all our viewers who will be heading out to the folk festival. So thanks very much, Greg. We're going to play one of your songs now and enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you very much. You guys too. Enjoy it, Winnipeg.
when you're hosting a party for over 40,000 people, you need a lot of volunteer help to keep everything organized and flowing smoothly. So they've got 2,300 volunteers this year. That's a lot of work just to organize that many people. What's involved?
It's a lot of people. And we start early on in the year. We'll be starting probably in March, getting in contact with the various coordinators of all the crews, recruiting, getting people assigned to crews, discussing what production needs are going to be for the coming year, that sort of thing. That all happens prior to the festival starting in about March.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what sort of jobs do all the volunteers get involved with?
Well, there's all kinds of different jobs, from cooking backstage for the performers and volunteers to site security, to transportation, to lockup, traffic, all kinds of different jobs.
Wow.
Something for everybody.
And this year, this is your first stab at it. How have you found it so far, trying to coordinate everything?
Correct. It's been challenging. 2,300 volunteers is a lot to coordinate. But thankfully, we have a great crew of coordinators, and that's really taken the load off of me. And they've really stepped up and sort of taken over ownership of each of the crews that they deal with, and that's been very helpful.
Now, as we're going to find out, we're going to talk to some of the volunteers who have been here for over 30 years. What's it like working with people like that?
Oh, those people are so passionate about the festival. It's actually amazing. You know, their energy and their passion for the festival just, you know, spreads to everybody else. You see sort of rookies on the crew, and you see them interacting with the 30-year volunteers, and it's incredible to watch. You know, that passion and that drive just gets passed on. It's great to see.
It generates quite an atmosphere, I guess, backstage here with everybody.
Absolutely.
As far as you go, I mean, you've been volunteering for 12 years?
I volunteered for 12 years before I became a paid staff member of the Winnipeg Folk Festival. Yeah, I was actually 12 years in the backstage kitchen.
And what were the things that you enjoyed most?
It was really about the people for me. I'm not, it's funny that I ended up in the kitchen because I actually have no culinary skills at all.
Oh, it was you, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, I wonder about those boiled eggs.
Yeah, so I really, when I say there's something for everybody, it doesn't mean that you need to be a chef to be working in the kitchen. A lot of chopping, all that sort of thing. But really, it's about the people. You know, great conversations happen when you're chopping 20 pounds of onions or 50 pounds of potatoes or whatever. So it's really about the people and the friendships that are formed back there, and that sort of thing.
So at home, did the meals improve for you, or do you just find you cook too much now?
Yeah, I cook way too much.
So make sure you stay with us throughout the program, because I'm going to go and talk to a few of these 30-plus volunteers. For Shaw TV, I'm Jeremy Vallon.
He did a great set last night at the main stage. He wrote. Trying to get me to do a song that we don't know.
Every once in a while it helps to do a song that you don't know.
No, it doesn't.
It depends on...
Yeah, you could fart and they'd love it.
It depends on what...
I'm not there yet, dude.
It depends on what attitude you approach the task with.
And what one would that be?
Like, that's exactly how I wanted that to look.
Right.
Be a little more vocal in this monitor, please. Over here, there we go. Up just a little bit, please. Huh. Okay, well, we'll just do it like that then. If you turned up something, it's probably something on one of the other stages. Sometimes you see somewhere.
You know, festival rules are different. You just have to go with it. You just, the tuning goes, the monitors could be there, they could not be there, you know. Nothing against you, Mr. Monitor Man. You know, they have the ability to make you sound really bad, so you have to be nice to them.
There's a button back there that says suck on it. And when you piss them off, they just punch it.
So, actually, the first time I came to Winnipeg was last February with Steve. I got the opening night gig on this tour, and we ended up falling in love and getting married. But that was my first time, and can I tell what you did? It was, well, not that. Not that thing, the other thing. we had a day off here, and we were staying on the bus, and it was so cold, it was so frozen. I took the dog out, and he was like, he didn't want to put his feet down, and I said, well, Bo, if I pick you up and try to run with you, he's 45 pounds, so if I pick you up and try to run with you, we'll both fall. So I'll tell you what, let's just run. So it was so cold. But I had a craving for gummy bears, and Steve walked out in the snow, in the ice. It was too cold to snow, it was in the ice, and he got me some gummy bears. Isn't that a good husband? Some weird store, Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon store. What is that store over by the Burton Cummings?
That's it, yeah. That's it. It was the only place open in all of fucking Winnipeg that day.
The Sunny Tiger. And they had gummy bears, believe it or not. Yeah, you know, I quit drinking, I quit smoking. It's just candy now. Yeah.
This is,
anyway, yeah, shut up.
If you heard the show last night, you already heard this.
You would think that we would spend our time sitting around playing guitars, but we actually don't. So we're working on that, though. We're working on all these new songs. But this is a song of Steve's that he did with Emmy Lou. I'm going to tell you that because usually he tells people that. I'm like, don't tell people that. This is on his last
a lot more
record.
than Emmy has, so.
It's called Coming Around. Okay, hit.
2, 3, 4.
Folk Festival coverage, far out.
This is Lindsay Perkins continuing your 2006 Winnipeg Folk Festival coverage. Now, workshops are all about bringing different people from different bands together and finding the common ground. So what is the commonality between all these people behind me on the stage? We've got Texas swing players, we've got French Canadians, it's the fiddles.
Play some Irish jigs from Ireland, believe that or not, so here we go. Anybody who wants to play along? Create a bigger sound here.
a tune that I've lifted off a guy named Hoyle Nix. This one's called Crippled Turkey.
See the blue square on the guitar fret? There's gold in there from Maurice Richard's 55-56 Stanley Cup ring. The 6-string Nation guitar has 64 pieces of memorabilia built right in, from Pierre Trudeau's canoe paddle to Paul Henderson's hockey stick.
Wayne Gretzky again, Paul Henderson again, and Walrus Tusk here. This is from John Ware's cabin, first black cowboy in Alberta, died in 1905.
The guitar takes a real twist on traditional historical Canadiana.
All of the pieces of this country, all the parts of this country work together. That is what the country is. It's this, I hate to say rich tapestry, but you know what I mean, right? It's not just Lake Louise, Old Montreal, the CN Tower, and Peggy's Cove, right? and a grain elevator. Although there is a grain elevator right there. There's a Doukhobor grain elevator from Berrigan, Saskatchewan, right in there.
So why put all these pieces, including wood from Lucy Maud Montgomery's home, into a guitar?
Think about it. You know, if you try and think about the people who define Canadian culture, and you know, pick 10 at random and put them in your head. I'll bet you 5 of them are holding guitars, right? You got anyone from La Balduc to Neil Young to, you know, you name it. Joni Mitchell.
Canadian musicians will be playing the guitar across the country at folk festivals, bars, and backyard barbecues. This is Canadian musician Justin Rutledge playing the guitar at the Winnipeg Folk Festival. If you missed it on the Winnipeg stopover, check out sixstringnation.com to see where the guitar is stopping next.